Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
57 pieces of advice that I would tell my younger self. We've gone through many so far.
Yeah.
And like always, I had Mark pick a number between 1 and 57, and you picked 5. So now we're looking at 5, and 5 was fall in love with, hang on a second. Well, I said fall in love with measuring results.
What on earth does that mean, Scott? You wrote this.
I wrote this. Fall in love with measuring results. So basically, I think if I was talking to my younger self, you need to reach goals and to achieve anything. You need to set goals and then smaller goals. And then you start moving towards that goal. And as you move towards the goal, you're going to look and assess at how well you're doing, or if you need to make changes. So you want to start measuring your results. For example, let's say you're trying to lose weight, and so you want to get to a certain number. Say you want to get whatever. And after 2 weeks, you haven't lost anything. Okay, so if you don't measure that, if you don't pay attention, you could go for months and not make any headway. So what I meant by fall in love with measuring results is just really get intense about how you're doing and the progress you either are or aren't making, and make the adjustments so that you are pretty much guaranteed to get to your goal eventually. But if you don't care about the results, if you're the kind of person that can, like, for example, go on a weight loss program and not weigh for 2 months, that's a long time to make wait 2 months before making an adjustment.
Sure.
So, you think about these. If you think about an airplane, and 20 Atomic Habits talks about this, how an airplane in Los Angeles going to New York, as soon as you take off, you're making adjustments to get to New York. I mean, if you set a course for New York and you take your hands off the yoke, there's going to be wind, there's weight, there's speed, there's all kinds of stuff fighting against you to get to New York. So if you are not constantly monitoring your progress, you could, if you didn't touch anything, you could wind up way off course and probably not hit New York. But as soon as a pilot takes off on an airplane, they are immediately starting to make adjustments. Little rudder here, they need to go up, get out of these clouds, or no flight is the same. No one flight's the same. So you're constantly reading and measuring the results that you're getting and making accommodations, changes, so that your end result is you get to New York.
Sure.
So if you're running a donut shop, if you're running like your donut shop, if you're whatever it is you're doing, family goals, business goals, if you're not, I would highly suggest finding ways to measure your results so that you can get to your goal faster.
Yeah, sounds like there's a famous saying, a Jewish saying, and it's something we say a lot when talking about things like this. If you take care of the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Just recently, maybe 2 months ago, I've been trying to train up my nephew to take over the donut shop. So I let him do the ordering. And so in doing that, I'm letting go of something that I like to watch myself, but I wanted to give him an opportunity. So he's been doing okay. But I started noticing some things that I wouldn't let go, that he's let go, something that I wouldn't order that he's been ordering. And then just this week, a remodeling of our store. Well, during a remodeling time, you don't spend money because you're already spending money. And so you cut everything way back for the first month so you can start putting dollars back in the bank. And so I'm talking to him on the phone. He says, yeah, I'm going to order the meat product. Now, meat product's a large amount of money in my shop. And so I have a lot of it on hand right now that we haven't used because it's been shut down for 8 days. And he said, I'm going to order 2 weeks supply. And I thought, well, why are you going to order a 2 week supply? Because I know what a 2 week supply costs. We already have a week's supply in the freezer. So why wouldn't we order and why are we ordering 2 weeks worth? Don't we order this week by week? And so I found out that he'd made a deal with the meat man that he'd been talking to he would let them deliver it once every 2 weeks. Well, I didn't know that because why? I wasn't measuring it. I wasn't checking it out. I wasn't following up on it. I said, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to buy 2 weeks of meat at a time, because that means I've got an extra $2,000 out sitting in my freezer for a week. Why do I want to do that? I don't need to do that.
Plus space, money. Maybe some of the meat's not as fresh when the time comes. Spoilage. That all comes from not measuring where I'm at, and so I see, and so it can get away from you real quick. Mm-hmm. So it's so important. I see what you're saying, and I have not always been great at. Yeah, I haven't
watching
either.
The pennies. I haven't.
I've learned by error. That's why I bring it up. Because
so I'm learning. I'm learning that, when I save over here. Another thing that's amazing to me is how we live our life. See, I have a budget. And this is just amazing to me. We're talking about measuring something. So I went over my budget this last week, and I looked at it and I thought, because the last 2 months I've been cutting myself back on pay because I knew I was coming into this thing, so I wanted to have less money. I didn't want to spend it. I wanted to keep it in the company. And so I kept thinking, man, my bank balance is staying about the same. I'm still I've got all that money in there. I'm paying all my bills. And how is that happening? Because it didn't make sense to me. Well, it's been a while since I visited my budget. Over the last year, I've paid a lot of things down and even some things off. So I went back to my budget to look at it just last week. So I did it all out and figured it all out and went, oh my Lord. So let's just put it this way. All I need to make a month for us to pay our bills and keep them current, all I need to make is $1,000. We can use Denise's pay and live off her pay plus my $1,000 for me and pay all of our bills and still keep the excess money I've had in there forever. I didn't know that. I kept thinking, how is it that all of a sudden I've got the and so I went, wow. So I have a lot more money that I can put into my retirement because I don't need that money. There's no sense in me having that money. I don't need that money. I've still got a substantial amount of money in my savings, my checking account that's over and above my bills every month that's staying the same because I'm not using it. I'm building my savings account, my IRAs. So I went and got a 401k so I could put a lot more money in. And I just didn't watch the budget that close. Because it's always been, let's just say for an example, it's been $10,000 a month. Well, then all of a sudden your budget goes to $5,000 a month, and you're like, where's all my money coming from? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, okay, we can live off far less than we did before.
Because of the stuff that you paid off and paid down.
Paid down, sure.
Thank you for joining the Scott Townsend Show. We'll be back right after this.
Pop's Daylight Donuts. Man, they've got the best tasting donuts, sausage wraps, pastries in Northeast Oklahoma. And also, if you'll tell the staff there, hey, Scott Townsend said to give me a large spicy pig, they'll give you a free large spicy sausage wrap. But you have to tell them Scott Townsend sent you. So tell them, hey, Scott Townsend told me to tell you to give me a large spicy pig. So there's the offer. There's the call to action. So go to Pop's Daylight Donuts. Say hi to Mark for me. And go to Pop's Daylight Donuts and get you some. The other sponsor is Castafly Outdoor Adventures.
Adventure. That's where it begins. We look to create and document our moments in time while embracing the majestic wonder and beauty of the great outdoors. Our quest is to explore the back roads of the Ozarks, camping, fishing, and just getting lost. Refresh your spirit and join us on our next adventure.
Paul and his crew invite you to subscribe to the Castafly Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. So that's, fall in love with measuring results, or you could say be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Whatever word you want to use. Be tenacious.
Maybe
whatever.
see the importance of it. A lot of things we do on here and talk about on here are just making adjustments. And if something's important to you, you'll tend to turn your eyes to it, right, or your ears to it.
Airplane. You could use a car example. If you take your hands off the steering wheel, you're probably not gonna wind up where you want to go.
You're gonna be in the ditch eventually. Somewhere along the way, you're gonna go off the road.
Yeah. Or you're gonna get stopped, or you're gonna hit somebody, or someone's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
So when you're driving, you're constantly checking your speed. You're checking traffic around you. You're always monitoring what's going on because you want to get to where you're going. So, yeah.
That's kind of important.
Yeah.
I want to be on the road,
not off the road.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Wow.
it's simple as that.
Good thought, Scott. Great thought.
So if you guys like this, share it, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, share, like. Podcasts, we're on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our sponsors, Pop's Daylight Donuts, Castafly Outdoor Adventures, and I think that's it for this week. Any final thoughts on results?
Do it.
Do it. Very good. All right. Well, for Mark McKinnon, this is Scott Townsend. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.